some therapists describe that, when clients come, they're borrowing the therapist's regulated nervous system for a bit. Is that what that feels like with couples?
Yeah, I think so. And they're borrowing like the room physically to create a sense of like, we can be safe whilst we talk about all of these things that feel unsafe. This is not at home. We don't have to go, pick up the kids from school immediately. Like, let's just be here and feel like what it's like in our bodies, in an environment that is stable and have these really tough moments.
And an environment that is so held and contained by the therapist and the therapy that both people need to stay in dialogue and be accountable and real.
Yeah. They keep getting invited to show up. They keep getting invited in those moments to be like, use this time, use this space, use this change.
And the conversations that might at home descend into an argument that just escalates can be really different conversations in the therapy room.
Yeah.
Today's guest is Gillian Fernandes, a counsellor specialising in couples and relationship therapy. With a master's in counselling, Gillian helps clients navigate emotional connection, de-escalate conflict, and improve satisfaction in both monogamous and polyamorous relationships. Drawing from therapies like emotionally focused therapy, attachment theory, Gottman, somatic therapy, neuroscience, and a systems lens, she creates personalised strategies to address common relationship challenges. In this conversation, we'll explore her approach to building healthier, more connected relationships. You're listening to The Right Therapist, where we demystify therapy. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we live and work. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening today. Thanks for coming on, Gillian.
Thanks, Laura. I'm happy to be here.
Can you tell us a bit about your work?
Yeah, so I run my private practice where I mostly see like couples and relationships. I've got a lot of individual clients as well that come either by themselves or they come as a couple to start with and then one stays. And when the couples work is sort of soothed, I see a lot of, I would say, people under the age of like 50-ish. I've got a few older couples that I love working with, but I seem to be attracting younger folk. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. And with lots of like intersectionality. So lots of sexuality, sort of fluidity, lots of ways the relationship, the makeup of the relationship, whether it is just two monogamous people or whether there's multiple partners I also see lots of people from different cultural backgrounds, and especially when there's two different cultures trying to be in love with each other, and lots of neurodiverse clients. So either one person is neurodiverse and their partner is neurotypical, or two neurodiverse people. Yeah, and there's an increase of that at the moment, and how to work with that and how people are identifying with it. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
In terms of non-monogamous relationships, are there unique challenges that people face?
So sometimes the non-monogamy thing is a way for people to get out of the relationship, and it just speeds up the process, and sometimes it's a bit more damaging. Sometimes a non-monogamy thing is it's worked for them for ages, and now there's a different life phase and it's not working. So it's like reestablishing the rules, renegotiating when the stakes maybe are different, higher or lower. And the relationship feels more fragile. I don't know. In essence, though, it's about attachment, I would say. And it's about people wanting to feel secure with whatever their home is, whatever their home relationship feels like.
Can you say more about attachment?
It's not about body autonomy, which I think that's not really what I work with people about. Maybe sometimes in terms of like education around it, but it's like, how do we open up this relationship? How do we have body autonomy outside of this relationship whilst also being attached to each other, feeling tethered, feeling like I'm still tethered to you whilst I can be out and living all different parts of my personality and sexual desire and wants. Yeah.
And it's a real departure from obviously like the traditional, in inverted commas, relationship, which is informed by Christianity, and that's what a lot of people, the paradigm their relationship is in. It's quite a big difference from that, isn't it? And I think some people find that really challenging, but I can imagine that partners in relationship would potentially find it really challenging in terms of their own attachment as well as like the cultural norms around relationships. It's funny when I talk about it because I don't want to sound like I'm like being negative or judgy about that style of relationship, but I'm also really curious because I'm like, that sounds fucking hard.
It's hard. It is honestly like the skill set, the personal work, the relational skills you need to be in a non-monogamous relationship, like, is huge. And it's way more things to manage than just one other person. And especially if you're not just in it for sex, right? So there's the like being with someone and then going out and having sex elsewhere. But there is people who really just want like also genuine connection and like to date someone and fall in love with other people. And what you need to negotiate all of that whilst also making sure everyone's feeling valued and seen, and it can be really hard. I've been educated by clients about this because sometimes some clients identify their sexuality, like part of who they are, as polyamorous. So it's not hard for them to exist whilst managing all of these different needs of different people in different relationships and different like tethers. And what is hard to manage is to live in this society where monogamy is the thing. It makes life more affordable. You can open a bank account easily, all this other stuff. But actually sometimes internally for certain people, this is actually just the way they're meant to be. And it sounds so nice to live in that much abundance and to like sort of unschool yourself.
That it's not just a departure from the norm, it's their authentic expression of themselves in romantic relationships.
Yeah. The hard thing I think is that person needs to be have like awakened, enlightened, done the work or something, because there is a lot of trauma that also informs people who want to try polyamory and people who don't know how to be securely attached and looking for ways to create a little bit of a barrier around themselves before becoming fully with someone like,
So for some people, polyamory, they might be drawn to polyamory because it mirrors their attachment
wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that trauma does inform like everything. And I think it's also okay if you've had something traumatic happen with an attachment figure in your childhood and then you are drawn to polyamory as a form of a relationship, it's kind of fine. But I think the thing that I like to work with clients on is just know what you're signing up for. So like, okay, you're in polyamory and you had a father who left early and then a mum who died. And so that's somewhat of informing, actually feels better to be attached to many people. Just knowing why you're pulled that way and owning it, I think is part of the process. Because like no one is in anything without trauma. So
all of our attachment, you could say the same thing about attachment for people in monogamous relationships or, choosing a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have this kind of preference towards secure attachment and that's like the goal. But essentially if you find a style of relationship that works for you and is kind of aligned with.
What makes you feel secure?
Yeah.
I think secure feels different to different people.
Yeah. Yeah, what feels secure to, a monogamous relationship feels secure to one person might feel very unsafe to another person and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why, some people have difficulty understanding alternative relationships because it's not what they could feel secure in.
Correct.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, essentially for anybody, the relationship, the person and the relationship style that you're choosing, it is important to know what is informing that. What's the foundation of that? Where are my wounds playing into this?
Absolutely. And then where are the traps? And how can we together hold hands and walk around the traps?
And is that what you would describe couples therapy is, no matter the relationship style, that you're kind of holding their hand and guiding them around the traps they might find in their relationship?
It's so varied. And the reason I use heaps of different approaches is because every client is so different. And like sometimes two people come in and they just need help having a conversation. That's about more than the tasks for the week, So my job there is just to help people have conversations. Sometimes my job is to help people listen and to just not feel like they need to defend or dismiss or placate their partner, And sometimes my job is helping people see their patterns and relationally with each other and then coming out of the reactivity in those moments and then, holding their hand and walking around that point of difficulty. And sometimes my job is to help people break up. Sometimes my job is to help people feel safe in the intimacy that they crave. Yeah, it depends. It depends on how people come into me, where they are emotionally, where they are with their trauma, where they are in their story.
I imagine over time it could potentially be a number or all of those things that they might come to be able to have a conversation together and then move into deeper work with you as well.
Yeah, sometimes, and it's like I think also it's one of the core things is just knowing their partner, like really knowing and seeing and experiencing the other person, understanding them and themselves. Yeah. Yeah.
Should we do a little therapy bit?
Yeah, great.
I don't know whether I need to keep saying this in every podcast, but obviously this is different to a regular therapy session. I'm not usually your client, but this is a real therapy session where I will bring my real self and you are generously bringing your real therapy self.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's obviously a really different setting and there are things about it that are really safe for me and there are things about it that are a bit of an edge for me in terms of I don't know who's going to listen to this, but I really want to be able to bring real things and be vulnerable and just let people see a bit of therapy, a bit of your work. So maybe you can settle into those different roles.
Mm-hmm.
I'll become a client for a little bit. And maybe we'll do like about 10 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Ish. Do you want to just you can just look at the time every now and then if that works for you. Yeah, it's interesting, this topic of relationships and couples. And I feel like I'm in a bit of a growthful space with this stuff. I find it very easy to be single. Very easy. And always have. But there is maybe part of me that wants, I can already feel some emotion. There's part of me that wants to really love and be loved by a partner. And I haven't really had any time to even think about that in the last 6 years or so. Nearly 7, I guess, including pregnancy. But yeah, it's probably been coming a bit more to the fore. And I find myself really curious about the part of me that loves being single and the part of me that would like a relationship. They feel like they're opposing parts. Yeah. And the one that loves being single is the easy one to choose. No? That's the safest.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest. Yeah, I feel a bit sad when I say that's the safest.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I think when I say that's the safest, I feel so much vulnerability that I want to move away from. Yeah, I feel I don't know, this part of my mind comes online of relationships are confusing and they take up a lot of time and, all the reasons to be single. But I think that's trying to move me away from what I was trying to talk about, which is the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just some sadness there about being vulnerable. And I guess I'm talking about lovability when I'm talking about vulnerability. There's something, I know on some level that I'm loved and lovable and every human is, but there's somewhere in me that questions that. That feels sad. Yeah. And then I just feel a bit that feels like a bit of a dead end. I feel a bit stuck with it,
Where does it live in your body?
Yeah, it's like it's in my chest, but really deep back in my chest, kind of behind everything.
Right. In your rib cage, behind your heart.
Yeah. Behind my heart. Yeah. I feel like I've lost contact with it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't locate it anymore, you can't feel into it anymore? Yeah,
it's difficult. I feel fine again, just funny.
Does this feel safe? So when you say fine again, do you mean safe?
Maybe. I would have said I feel not sad.
You feel not sad?
Yeah, so I went from very sad to not sad quite quickly.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. Let me just reflect back what I've heard. For the last 6 or 7 years, you've been doing your thing. You're at the point in your life now where there is a opening up, a yearning, maybe gentle yearning to love and be loved. And you've got two parts of you competing at the moment, and that's the part that is really good at being single, that feels really like you know it, it's comfortable, it's safe. And the parallel part is the one who's looking for relationship and connection. And to be loved and to believe that you are lovable and to be able to relax into that.
Yeah, I feel when I think of the part of me that loves being single, wants to be single, I feel a bit sad about that.
Okay.
You know, that's my preference. That feels sad. And I don't think it's just because society is completely geared towards couples and rewards couples at every turn. I think it's because I know I don't have a choice. It's not like I don't think I'm really choosing to be single, even though, you know, I am choosing to be single. I'm actively not dating, not looking, not interested. But when it comes to like, do I have the option of being in a relationship? It feels like I actually don't. Yeah.
Because? What's that?
I feel like it can just turn everything upside down. And I think being a single parent, kind of hanging by a thread sometimes anyway, or as a parent in general you are, yeah. So I'm like, I've got no capacity to deal with any of that. And even though I've had lots of lovely partners, you know, it's rarely been actually the partner that's been tumultuous. It's what happens in me that's tumultuous. Yeah.
What happens in you?
I think there's a part of me that like gets a spotlight and shines all awareness and energy onto my partner. It's like I just abandon myself completely, and I'm consumed by the attachment and looking for things that indicate that the attachment is not right or not good enough or not steady enough or not real.
Okay. So you take the spotlight, shine it on them, but then you abandon yourself, but it's not in like a positive attachment. It's in an anxious thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Where you're looking for signs that this is going to fall apart.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, things happen in normal relationship kind of ebb and flow that can make you feel a bit insecure, but I take a hit when those things happen. I feel like I'm speaking very historically, like I haven't been in a relationship for a really long time.
Yeah.
But what is current is that I'm not interested in a relationship at all. Well, is that true? See, it's confused. I'm confused.
Yeah, because we're sort of at 10 minutes, but I'm just thinking you're not interested in a relationship at all is not what you've just been communicating.
Yeah.
You're wanting to be loved and to love.
Yes. It's like there's a part of me that's about that big that wants to be loved and to love. And if that lives there.
Behind your heart?
The entire rest of me is like, I haven't got time for any of that. Like, I don't feel lonely. I don't wish I had someone. Probably like, I remember once about 3 years ago, I had a really great thing happen work-wise. Like someone I'd like really, really helped. And in that moment I thought, I wish I had a partner to ring and tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
3 years ago. That feeling.
But I think I am just so self-sufficient that I don't even think about it day to day. But then there's this sadness that I'm kept away from, even in this exchange, My system is like, oh, yeah, there's a bit of sadness there, but don't worry about that because we love being single. We don't want a relationship at all.
We're self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Look at this 3 years before I even thought about a relationship.
Yeah.
So it's like a badge of honor that's keeping you protected from the sadness of wanting a relationship and knowing that you might or have in the past lost yourself and then become anxious about it falling away. So all of the single Laura stuff comes.
Yeah.
Feels better to be in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have capacity for any kind of experimentation now, thanks. Like, as in to date someone and see, you know what I mean? Like,
single Laura's got things to do.
very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, I'm kind of moving into talking about the session a little bit. But it's interesting to me how definite that voice that says I don't want a relationship is. Like, I hear myself in this. And yet 2 minutes ago there was a deep sadness about wanting to love and be loved, and that I feel like I maybe don't have the choice to choose a relationship.
Because of what happens to yourself in relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like when you're in those two different experiences, you're like physically two different people. It's amazing.
Yeah. These parts of me are so separate from each other, like so disintegrated. And I'm operating from this independent part and disowning, right, this sad part.
I feel like you're being really hard on yourself because they like we didn't even talk for that long and they were like it was like playing tennis, it didn't feel super disintegrated. It felt like I don't know. It didn't feel that separate from each other. And I
guess I do feel like that super independent part of me could be brought around to agree that a relationship would be nice. And even as I say that, it's like, not yet, you're too busy. But I do really get the sense that super independent part of me is probably changing a bit and is aware of the other part of me that does want a relationship.
Changing a bit to genuinely think I can slow down a bit, I can make space. I want to make space.
Yeah, I think it's a bit like it trusts. It doesn't want that sadness to dominate, but it trusts me more than it ever has. Like that super independent me is like, yes, we're very independent and busy, but I see how this might be okay at some point kind of thing.
So like the trust is about you not completely losing yourself. I think there's something about motherhood as well that like you can't lose yourself.
No.
Like you are actually so tethered to – sorry, that's the word I'm using all the time. But like you're so tethered to the reality of your life and the situation in your bub. Like there's some sort of security that comes from I don't know, motherhood and then dating.
Yeah.
You know?
It wouldn't be possible to lose myself in the same way that I used to in my like early 30s, like my 20s or early 30s.
Yeah. You're so much more solid now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. That's really true. And that my priorities are so clear. I don't feel like there's any wavering.
Yeah. Your priority to stay in a relationship and make sure that there's no warning signs that it's going to break away is not as important as staying present and doing all the things you need to do as a mum and for yourself to be there for your child.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah.
And almost like I'm thinking about like regulation. I'm thinking about if you are in a relationship now and you notice yourself going into that anxious place and looking for the warning signs. As a parent, you have to regulate so much to not lose your shit all the time. How much will you be able to call on that regulation stuff to know when you are noticing yourself going anxious and going into that place? It's like, how do you have a better ability now to pull yourself back
Than pre-motherhood?
Yeah.
Because nothing has dysregulated me more than motherhood has.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think, all that trust that the independent side of you has in you, it's like so valid.
Yeah. I do feel like that's changing. And the fact that, I guess it's nice to have that mirrored back to me that, there are these two parts of me that are very different to each other, but that they're both kind of able to pipe up. And
they're totally able to pipe up. You were absolutely able to locate where the sadness lived and you had access to it. You could feel it. You knew which layer of your body it was in. That's huge. That's so integrated.
It does feel like the least accessible woundedness that I
out of all of your wounds, it feels
out
like
of all of my multitude of wounds. I'm not even joking.
I'm glad you brought that one to our session today.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's
Yeah. But it is interesting what happened when I, and this happens so much in therapy, right? Someone locates a vulnerability, sadness, a feeling, and then 3 seconds later, or the therapist asks a question or something, and it's gone.
It goes,
Where did it go?
Yeah. I always have a mini freak out when that happens as the therapist, but also it's like everything's okay. Everything's okay. It's gone because it's not used to having any air and we just looked at it and it doesn't like being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
It's fine. It'll come back. And being able to sort of tell myself that, to relax, and then just letting the client feel that that's sort of okay.
Yeah.
And it will keep showing up as we continue to do this work and as it continues to know that this is a safe space and it's welcomed and it wants to be known and wants to be heard and wants to be soothed.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's that window of tolerance idea that, it was tolerable for me to bring that. And it would be really interesting maybe in a therapy session that wasn't on a podcast, that might not have happened, but it might be partly this setting as well that vulnerable part of me was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Or did another part of me go, no, pop a lid on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I find it fascinating when it happens.
What, when it disappears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did it go? Did it get shut down?
Yeah.
Did it run away?
Yeah.
And who shut it down? And was that part got to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes it just doesn't, it's not the right.
I think my favorite thing to go to is just notice it. Like, just take the pressure off. Let's not put a story to what's just happened. Let's just notice.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. This is my theme at the moment in my therapy in general. Mm-hmm. So
really?
Yeah.
The relationships are being open.
Yeah. I feel like maybe not in this exact kind of conversation, but yeah, just even in terms of like asking for help and how can I lean more into not just being independent Laura that powers through everything. So this is, it feels like another piece of that.
It's exciting and terrifying.
Totally. Thank you so much.
No.
It's really nice.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I mostly just sat there in goosebumps, like just getting to be with you on like in your in terms of dimensions, like in an emotional dimension with you, you know, like this is why I love the work, is because you get to see you get to experience things that people are scared to experience on their own. And so thank you.
That's so nice. It is such a beautiful thing about therapy, isn't it, that we get invited right in and then we maybe invite them to come in a little further as well, that it's just so lovely to be experiencing someone with them.
And my body tells me before my brain even knows. Like, honestly, like I do get the goosebumps, and it just feels very intimate and very meaningful. And and then also I need to take myself out of that a little bit to make sure that I'm not putting that meaning on the person in front of me.
It's interesting when we're doing relational therapy and we're really there with a client, how do we stay with ourselves whilst really being there with the client? And I feel like that's the difference between feeling really weighed down by the work and burning out. Like that's really key.
That's been a huge, huge learning for me in terms of my supervision. Is this relevant? Yeah. And I've had to do a bunch of work on like taking out parts of me that take over. So I've got like a visualisation that I do when things are getting a bit spicy in a session and someone's actually taking out something on me. There's this thing I do where I put like these two different younger versions of me up in a tree house, and I just imagine it, and I just sort of, the first one I'm like, this has nothing to do with you, so I've got this. And the second one, the part of me that comes in and that's like defensive if someone's telling me off in a session, I'm like, that version of me is like a few years older, and I'm like, and you don't have to defend me. Like, I don't need you to, like, I've got this. And then just being able to stay with whatever the client's going through because those two little people aren't there. But yeah, it's hard to stay present and not get carried away. And,
particularly in those kind of situations that in everyday life can feel really dysregulating and threatening. Like, we are humans after all, but
exactly,
we want to be able to stay in the seat of the therapist, even when someone is having an actual problem with you. Yeah, it actually says a lot that clients can say that to you. You know, that's a leap, isn't it, for a client to
For some it's the go-to.
True. Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we have to be able to have those really difficult conversations and also in the moment to like know what of that to own and what of that to
exactly.
go, hey, what's happening
exactly.
here? Is this
you're
doing that thing
that
you do?
I like not take it personally, but then also be like, hold on, do I need to reflect on that? And do we need to repair here? And yeah. It's a lot of the supervision work.
Yeah. It does demand a lot of us in that way. And yeah, I think most people when, I don't know if you have this, when you kind of meet someone or whatever and say you're a therapist, a lot of the time the response is, don't know how you do that, or don't know how you listen to people, or doesn't it get so heavy? And that is something that we have, like a skill we have to learn to.
That is the question that people ask me all the time. How do you not take it home? And it's like, I don't know, you get into the habit of it, There's a time limit, there's like little rituals you do for yourself at the end of each session. You spread sessions out.
Something for me is really, you've just got to trust that client is not coming to us, I don't know, for us to carry them or save them, and that can't be our job or our thinking around our job.
Yeah, I think, sometimes couples can come in with that agenda. It's like, you do the work, therapist.
Fix us.
And it feels like, and I get it, like the stakes are huge. A relationship is, on the line, and a lifestyle and all of the things. So I understand that need to sort of, and I think this is, the thing is sometimes couples stuck in problem for so long and stuck in this tension, and they come to therapy as a last ditch effort to save a marriage or save the relationship. And there is, often the couple sessions, they destabilize the relationship even more because you're digging super deep and you're really trying to heal from the core. So I don't know, I think people come in sometimes with that expectation, which is like the help, can you fix this? And it's really about, for me, I love to carry that pressure. It's so hard. But it's about like, putting it back and then really helping people understand what the process of therapy is and what engagement feels like, and tolerating how difficult it is.
What would you say the process of therapy is?
That's a good question. I think it's like hugely vulnerable and there's such an openness. I think the process of therapy is showing up physically and then showing up with all the other stuff. So showing up with curiosity about yourself and questions about yourself and examples, and then being able to receive becoming, if there's a mirror, like the reflection. So if I provide a mirror and reflect back, being open to what was received by the other person. And then with couples, again, it's the process of therapy is also like heaps of self-discipline in terms of like regulation so that things don't explode. And then it's just continuing the process to see what's next. So an openness, I think, is the process of therapy.
And I imagine when you describe that, sometimes rather than kind of saving the relationship when they come to see the therapist, it actually destabilises it more. Is that because kind of everything's laid out on the table, or people are invited to say what is real for them and the other partner actually has to hear it instead of firing back? Or
I think it destabilizes the relationship because there is a way a relationship goes forward and continues to go forward, this like homogenous way of being together. And what you're doing is you're adding therapy and counselling into the process, which is different to the way the relationship stays functional. So it's this other element, and that other element in design is meant to go, hold on, wait, what's happening here? Why is it happening like this? What are the invisible, unsaid things? What's not being talked about here that's causing some of the difficulty or disharmony? And it's sort of giving air to all the dirty laundry. And then being able to like put that laundry back into the wash and remove the stains together and then hang it out together and then things start to feel more stable. You know? That's the destabilising part. And I think as well, like just today and a lot of presentations that I'm seeing at the moment is couples who are just in such big caretaking modes with each other. So whether, I don't know if it's just the 2025 or whether there's so much beautiful acceptance for where people are at and how they identify and mental health as there's a spotlight on there. And so people sometimes in relationship stuck in a caretaking mode and with that comes like this, I don't want to communicate anything that's going to cause distress in you because you've got so much distress anyway in all this other aspects of your life. So I'll put a lid on my thing, you put a lid on your thing, not cause me distress, and then we just go forward together looking after each other. And I have a lot of people coming in at that point talking about what's the next step or in our relationship or sometimes it results in not having any sex. And so it's and so we kind of need to, that's what I mean by destabilising, is let's get out of caretaking mode and let's get into you needing to be an individual person that's differentiated from your partner and can be on different sides of any topic and still go forward together.
It makes me think of, and I think I've even said this before in an episode, but it makes me think of, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote, a Gabor Mate quote that's when it's authenticity versus attachment always wins. That we find it very hard, it's a generalisation, we find it very hard to be authentic and say what's true if it's going to threaten the attachment in the relationship. Or it's going to stir something up or upset the other person. And so we, like you say, put a lid on that so that we can keep going forward. Mm-hmm. I imagine that eventually that all kind of builds up and
it comes out in something. Mm-hmm. And also I think what happens, it's not just in the relationship, it's often people in themselves put a lid on it and they don't even know what they're putting a lid on, And so it's first helping the individual discover their voice and not just that, but discover what's actually happening for them. What is this telling us about your experience in the relationship? Okay, let's communicate that to the other person. Let's help the other person then sit with that, and it requires actually people to be, I don't know, I just feel like it's so hard and humans are so amazing and Yeah, it takes a lot of skill to have a really healthy relationship. How do we get into those kind of roles in relationships? If someone's in a caretaker role in a relationship, what is that? Why? Yeah, I think it's high. What's the word? Empathy. Empathy. It's it's a lot of empathy for a partner and witnessing their distress. And then I think there's sometimes a bit of enmeshment with our partner's emotional experience. So we lose ourselves in what our partner's going through. And then all we want to do is take away their distress. And it makes complete sense. It actually feels like the opposite thing to have to separate yourself out from it in a way. That actually feels why would I be moving away from my partner when they're in distress? But
this idea of getting out of caretaker role feels like the opposite of what a loving partner should do.
Yeah. So
would you say it's gendered? Not necessarily.
No. I think it depends on what kind of care you're taking. I think when your partner's got like intense mental health stuff going on, I don't think that's gendered. When there is like some incompetent stuff around physical things that need to be done, I think that is gendered. Like in the house, in the home, during the week, I think that is gendered.
And so if you're seeing someone in a relationship in caretaker mode, what is their work likely to be that they need to do?
Recognizing that they are in that mode, kind of being able to see the problems with being in that mode and the effects on the relationship. Then it's about like, I think it's also about like their partner being able to hold that truth as well and going, like creating some trust there around, okay, well, my partner's got these strategies and they are going to look after themselves. And they're going to be able to do all these things, and trusting that they've got it and being able to step down, which then brings up all these questions around like self-worth and value. And it's like, am I still lovable even though I'm not playing this part for this person? And then it's about like the fun stuff, and it's like reestablishing, like once the two of them are like differentiated and caretakers out of the way and they can just be lovers, it's like, okay, well, what does this look like? And what do we want to do with our newfound zest, you know? And how do we stay connected? Because sometimes that's the problem, is the relationship ends. When the caretaking part of it is taken out of it, it's like, well, what do we have here now? So
But it was more so a relationship of dependence and caretaking rather than two people joyously being together.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you take out that element that's kept them connected, I guess the question is also like, do you actually want to stay connected now? Or and if you do want to stay connected, what does that look like?
Yeah, so like seeing the truth of it, establishing some sort of a new contract around the relationship of, okay, well, this is how we're going to try and show up for ourselves and each other in the relationship in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And then, exploring where that takes you, whether it's...
Yeah. And if it's not together, really being able to understand, okay, I have this huge caretaker thing that comes up for me. How do I not recreate that? Because you're just going to keep recreating it if it's not somewhat soothed and healed. Yeah, and the best way to do that is in relationship as well, you know?
Yeah.
Where you can continue to feel valued and loved and cared for, whilst not doing the thing that's given you a sense of value yourself. Did that make any sense?
It did, and I'm surprised by that answer, because I thought you were going to say the best place to do that is individual therapy, because that is what I would do. But that makes total sense to learn by being in a relationship in a different way.
So much can be healed in relationship. You know, all of the crappy things your parents did can be healed through a partner showing up in a different way and loving you. And like it physically changes the way, the neural pathways and the way you're experienced by someone else, you experience yourself, and those moments go from threat to like moments of feeling really loved and connected. Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Yeah. It is really nice. That's my favorite part of the job, is when you see people creating like new ways of being together that they never have received before.
Yeah. Maybe didn't have capacity to experience before. That's cool.
Yeah. Goosebumps again.
Yeah, that must be the same. It must be, a really satisfying feeling.
As a therapist or as the person that...
Well, I was thinking as a therapist, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is satisfying. And like, I think we go into this work and we know that we shouldn't have like really satisfying moments. There's like nothing to achieve. But I don't know. It feels really good when people are just like in good space with each other and themselves. And there's like positive things that have happened from all of the destabilising. Yeah.
Yeah, that you all went through this process and they came to a place of greater connection and joy and pleasure. Yeah.
And I think I remember every single one of my clients where if they've stuck through the therapeutic process and like this journey of like back and forth and rupture and repair, not just with each other but with the therapy, I can remember every single client that sort of stuck with it, and I've got to experience with them those moments of like more secure being together, more connected. Yeah.
They stay with you.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
Yeah. That's really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say that's your favourite part of therapy, being a therapist?
No. I don't know if this is going to come across as so creepy, but I just love being like emotionally intimate with someone, you know? I just can't imagine. I can't believe this is a job that you just get to sit with people and just like be curious and get to know people. Yeah. That's my favorite part of the job, is like people want to come and talk and discover and be better, and yeah, just all of it, really.
I think that's my favourite part too. Yeah, being invited in and getting to know kind of their internal architecture and everything that happens for them, and help them understand what's happening and why it is that way, and have compassion for themselves and feel things ease. And just so often, I only work online, and I so often finish, probably almost all the time, finish the call and I'm like, oh, like it's just so lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other side of it is like, I love that people pay me to challenge them. Like you go through society, like life in society, and you're like, you know, you kind of can't say all the things. And then this person comes into your room and they're like pretty much giving you license to, once the rapport's built, once they trust you, they're giving you license to reflect back or say things that might be blind spots. And I just love the fact that that's like, finally I'm allowed to do the thing that I want to do, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. You get to be really real with people.
And then I actually do love is it the responsibility? You can be real. You can throw out something that's so difficult to hold. And then I do love being able to provide a container where it's okay. We've got this, you know? And just like regulating my nervous system enough that they feel regulated, and we can all just really look at this thing without all of the noise. Yeah.
It makes me think of, you know, some therapists describe that, you know, when clients come, they're borrowing the therapist's regulated nervous system for a bit. Is that what that feels like with couples, with you?
Yeah, I think so. And they're borrowing like the room physically to create a sense of like, we can be safe whilst we talk about all of these things that feel unsafe. We can be like, this is not at home. We don't have to go, you know, pick up the kids from school immediately. Like, let's just be here and feel like what it's like in our bodies, in an environment that is stable, and have these really tough moments.
And an environment that is so held and contained by the therapist and the therapy that both people need to stay in dialogue and be accountable and real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They keep getting invited to show up. They keep getting invited in those moments to be like, use this time, use this space, use this change. Yeah.
And the conversations that might at home descend into an argument that just escalates can be really different conversations in a therapy room.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of that is also just helping people learn to listen and to continue to say the truth and then continue to listen without going into, quick sorries to try and move the conversation along, or like defenses and arguments. And Yeah.
Yeah. There's an accountability that's expected and a level of engagement that's expected.
Well, yeah, and sometimes it takes a lot of coaching, you know. I sometimes like ask people, I need to continue to interrupt you because like I'm just going to help you take in this thing that your loved one is saying so that your loved one can finally release it and it not be the thing that keeps coming up and keeps spiking up in different places. So let's just stay here and be open to finally let go of this thing so that your partner can finally let go of this thing because you've witnessed it.
And your partner can feel that they've said it and you've actually heard it and you've had the support to really feel it and respond to it. I mean, that's why things keep coming up and coming up. You know that, like, oh, here we are. Oh, you're bringing this up again.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if it's even that, like, it feels so simple, right? But is it that simple? I don't know. But, like, the way I think about it in session is like, okay, it keeps coming up. We're stuck here because there's something needs to be heard. There's something that needs to be witnessed. Like, there's something that needs to be experienced, not just in your partner, but in yourself. Like, you need enough space to experience this thing fully, accept it fully, and then what a beautiful healing thing to be able to then express it outwards, for that to be experienced fully. And then most things just disappear. Like, yeah.
And people can actually move on when it's been really felt and really heard.
Yeah, yeah. Things are actually cleaned out, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think of, couples that maybe avoid particular conversations because they don't want to end up back in the same spot, but actually can clear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Avoiding things never works. Again, I don't know if it's that simple, but it kind of, in terms of what we're talking about, I think it's pretty simple.
I agree. I think even just within ourselves, avoiding things never works. Or it works okay for a period of time, but it comes to a point where it's surfacing anyway in some form.
Yeah.
So the avoidance has passed its use-by date, and actually now we have to look at this.
That and then the other side of that is people like me that like run into things like straight away, you know, like just putting on your running shoes and just going for it, and that being like a trauma response as well, right? So it's like, okay, hold on. Let's put some scaffolding around this. Let's like make this safe for everyone. So the avoiders can come in and you can chill out a little bit and not get damaged in this. Yeah.
That it's moderated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think all couples could benefit from couples therapy?
That's such a good question.
Are some people fine?
I think some people are fine. I actually think some people are fine. And I'm not saying that this is people who have like given up like ever experiencing really good relationships. That's not what I'm talking about by fine.
You're talking about me.
No. You know how people are Let me just re-say that because I lost myself. Some relationships people are in and they give up the desire to have like actually deep, beautiful connection, you know? They think they are the people that get to experience like a littler type of love than other people. And they kind of sign up for that. And I'm not saying that those people don't require, I reckon, a little bit of, there's something that's probably needed there, probably internally for what you value and want for yourself. I'm talking about, I reckon there are couples out there that are just living happily, and not just happily, sorry, that's the wrong word, living connected and living intimately together. And I think it's the couples that, I'm pretty sure Esther Perel says this, so sorry to regurgitate, but it's like people willing to reinvent their relationship with every time they need to. So it's like, you know, after the honeymoon phase, you buy a house, maybe things need to be reestablished because financially there's something different going on. Or when your kids have moved out and it's like empty nest. So again, like you're in a new relationship now. What does this look like? So I think those are the couples that I never need to see, because there is this ongoing like presence with what the situation is, how it feels, and then an openness to sort of, or creativity to go like, what's next?
I was thinking of flexibility.
Yes, flexibility.
Similar vibe to creativity, that they don't have one particular way that this relationship needs to be in order for them to feel okay in it. That as their lives change, they can recontract or reinvent their relationship.
It's almost like their ego I don't know if I'm simplifying everything, but like their ego isn't so fragile that they can't ask the questions that they need to ask about whether this is working or not, whether there's like true satisfaction here or not anymore, you know?
And with that generally, I don't know if I want to ask this question because I'm asking you to make a generalisation, but is that people without huge attachment trauma that can be flexible in relationships like that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think anyone, like even if you've got huge attachment trauma, everything can be healed. Not everything can be healed, but like everything can be, it's not the dead end. A huge attachment trauma, you're not stuck there and stuck in those like the difficult attachments that come with that, you know? Yeah. And I think that's what happens when people are together and they learn a different way to be with each other, and the way they truly are is being accepted by the other person. I think that's when those attachment wounds can be healed. And I think once you've got a sort of a blueprint for overcoming something and negotiating something with your loved ones, you can continue to do that. Yeah, so no, I actually think it's maybe the opposite, because like people with attachment, like if there's a bit of tumultuousness and you've managed it, those are the people who can kind of continue to manage those different life phases and recreate a new relationship.
And I imagine therapy is a place where people can come and manage a difficult life phase and then have the blueprint to keep going forward and keep using that throughout the different phases of their relationship.
That's absolutely like one of the entryways into therapy. And the other one is when things are too boring and too the same and too kind of meh. Yeah.
What's happening there when things are too boring and the same?
I think that's the caregiver stuff that we were talking about before.
Right.
You know, there's two – I mean, that's one thing that's probably going on, and there's probably the other things that are going on are – what I'm thinking about is like there's this like – there's no space for authenticity. There's no space for that. So everything's like kind of being managed and you just keep one foot in front of the other without really like being present and authentic. Yeah.
Makes me think of like difference in a relationship and differentiation in a relationship being really enlivening and bringing a lot of energy into the relationship. Even just people having their own friends and their own hobbies and spending time apart from each other in relationship. It injects a lot of energy, doesn't it?
Honestly, like if me and my partner are at home for like just a few days, I'm like, I am bored. Like you know, how are you? Like thirsty, you know, like, yeah, there is something about like separating, coming back together that feels so enlivening and passionate and exciting. And, you know, this whole like work from home thing and the whole COVID thing, it kind of like added this whole element into couples therapy that we need to talk about. It's like two people working from home in their trackies all day together. That's huge. That's playing life on hard mode and relationships on hard mode. Yeah.
And contrasted with when you go out to work and you have all of these different experiences and friendships, and then you come back together with something to share, something to say, and you've had a chance to miss each other, feel yourselves maybe a little bit separate from each other.
I actually think about it in terms of you go out into the world and you are changed in some way through an interaction or through something, right? And you come home and then your partner gets to like relearn about you.
Oh, I like
Yeah. And I think that's what it is. It's not just about like sharing what you experienced in the day, but like, yeah, getting to figure out, oh, that's what happened to me in that moment. And then letting your partner know that you're a new person now or a different person. Yeah.
Yeah. And that even though that might be happening when you're both at home in your trackies, it's not happening on the same scale as when you're separate and in different locations.
Yeah, and I don't even know how it must be happening on such a minute level when you're back at home together, because there's this like togetherness and you don't really want to be that enmeshment thing that happens. That's what happens, right? Like, so there's this like, oh, I heard the video conference they had with their team, and I heard that it got feisty. And there's like, I kind of already know in a way, or something. Like, what am I trying to say? I do think there's something about like becoming one another. That's, yeah, the lack of differentiation, the enmeshment that can happen. And I think like, yeah, physical distance is a really good way to avoid that happening. And I'm not saying like, you know, doing FIFO or working, like, you know, not being in the same environment at all. Everything's a balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the coming back together and yeah,
experiencing each other and witnessing each other.
And I think that's the cool thing about polyamory as well, you know? I think there's this thing that happens when you go and be intimate and get to be with other people and be different around other people and then come back and then get to share, if that's the way the relationship works, but then you get to share this new part of you. I think polyamory is doing that on like super mode.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and how fresh and connected it might feel when you do come back together with your partner.
Yeah.
After those very differentiated experiences.
Yeah.
There's this enmeshed type of relationship where you sort of collapse in a puddle on top of each other, and then polyamory is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, isn't it? Potentially, depending on the type of relationship, but much more differentiated, not enmeshed.
I think that's giving the positive side of polyamory, which is ideally. But if we're going into the collapsed puddle, that's the negative side of like monogamy in a way. So it's like and then there's the scale, and in that scale would be the polyamory, the good part of polyamory where you can go away and be differentiated and come back. But the negative side of polyamory is that like you're going away to like to sever the attachment with your significant or your primary partner or something. Polyamory, non-monogamy. That's yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that it's not just a moving apart from one another. It's a maybe potentially more of a cutting off from one another and being somewhere else or with someone else.
Well, maybe it's about the coming back together with polyamory. That there is a coming back together that feels really powerful instead of it coming back together and it feeling like, oh, I've damaged something here. I don't know if this is too out there and not.
Maybe. Interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a part of me that's scared to be in a relationship. And it's like, are we even supposed to be just with one person? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something nice about it though, I guess.
The one person? There can be something nice about it if it's flexible.
Yeah. That's it, isn't it? It's got to be flexible.
Yeah. It's weird to have so many of these opinions about something that's so subjective. But I really do have lots of opinions.
I think that's great. And I think the last thing people want when they go to see a therapist is someone completely neutral who, particularly when you're going for couples therapy, you want to hear what's real.
Yeah.
I mean, you want someone who's balanced.
Yeah.
But
you know what? It's so hard to be balanced as well. Like, and I've noticed that. Like, it is really like sometimes we spend a lot of time in one person's corner and then we do have to rebalance it, but it can feel like it's not super balanced at times. Yeah.
Is that because you're delivering or holding up a mirror to something that's happening and one person more than the other needs to kind of look at that and take accountability for that?
Sometimes I don't know if it's that. I think it's more about one person has more capacity to self-reflect and change. The other person might have some sort of like a trump card that is untouchable.
Can you give
For example, let's say like a solo parent that's getting into a relationship, the trump card will be the child, or someone with intense mental health that's coming up, that's acute. That will be the trump card. So sometimes it's unbalanced because it's like the other person without those factors has to do a little bit more of the coming to the party. And that's also okay as long as the relationship has the capacity for it to be flipped over when it needs to be, when the other partner then needs the support and the
it just doesn't only work one way.
Yeah, for the duration of the relationship. It can't. That's not real intimacy.
That sounds like the kind of relationship that once that caretaker dynamic is seen and, you know, the partners agree to not be in that dynamic for the sake of the relationship might not actually be there.
Yes, I think so. The thing that I want to say is if we are stuck in how we want our partner to show up, or there's no so let's take the like mental health example. If mental health is our trump card, our partner can't show up authentically because there is always going to be like a need, like their experience of your mental health is never important enough as your mental health. And that is a way to keep yourself away from your partner. If you are not able to sit and receive feedback or understand their experience and it's not valid to you, that's keeping them away from you.
So it's almost like their trump card, whatever it might be, is their way of...
Yeah, it's the wall between the two of you.
Yeah, a way to not be as connected or to...
Yeah. Well, to not allow space for the other person to show up how they need to be. So you'll never get to experience your partner authentically, because there is a little sign up saying there's actually no space for it right now.
It's only space for my problem.
Yeah.
Or priority.
Mm.
Mm. And that makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense that at times in a relationship that will be the case when someone becomes unwell or their circumstances are changed, that it may be that the other partner is a bit more self-sufficient or there's a bit less space for them, but that it should be temporary and flexible.
Mm. Mm. The seasons change, and then in the next season it might be the other way around, and there has to be space for it. And it kind of, I also think the other thing that needs to happen in those moments is everyone sign up to what's actually happening. Let's not do this invisibly or quietly. It's like, let's all get on the same page. This is what's happening. I'm putting in more right now. That's fine. You need a little bit more support. Great. Let's go forward, and then let's reassess. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very important point. Let's sign up for what's actually happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not collude. Let's not coerce. Let's not like silently, blindly go into this. It doesn't work.
It's not really proper consent, is it? Or it's not really entering into a relationship for either of the people. It's not entering into a relationship really authentically.
Like, yeah, power plays way too much of a role in that. Power, it's not balanced.
Can you say a bit more about that?
Yeah, I think power is a huge part of relationships. And if things aren't explicit and you're both like signing up to something that's very explicit and you both like give your consent to continue in that dynamic, if that's not done, all of the unsaid stuff has so much power to control the dynamic. And if the dynamic is one person is giving more than the other person in that moment, the control then is, one of those people are being like controlled, and they don't, and there's no consent, or there's no signing up to it. That kills like proper connection. It kills like any space to show up authentically and safety, and it is a bit of a power over thing, you know?
Yeah. This is a big question. What kills sex in a relationship?
Everything. Anything can kill sex. Sex, I feel like sometimes it gets used like, it either gets used to keep connection and there's actually nothing underneath the sex, so people keep continuing to have sex with each other, and it's like, we have sex every other night. And it's like, so we're doing fine. You're not really. Maybe you're not doing fine, right? And the sex is just used as this thing to be like, but we're doing this marker. What kills sex though, it can be anything. Like looking at it holistically, like, we can look at hormones, we can look at like what phase of life you're in, how busy is your life, all that stuff. I think the thing that kills sex is like it's so intimate, and if there's no intimacy, that's not physical. I think that kills sex. And that means like, that means so many things, intimacy. Like I think you don't really know your partner if you're feeling really not connected to them, or you're feeling too the same as them. All of that kills sex. I think like self-esteem, I think if one person is in a really bad place, that kills sex. Having kids kills sex. Yeah.
What keeps sex alive then?
Maybe flexibility again. And also learning to have, like for those couples that are in hetero partnerships, what keeps sex alive in those couples is like learning to not have penetrative sex. Just learn some different techniques, that keeps sex alive. What else keeps sex alive? Differentiation. I think self-work as well. Like if you're really working on yourself to soothe all those parts of you that need to engage in sex, that keeps sex alive. And talking about sex keeps sex alive. Like, can a couple talk about it, and desire, like, and what's changed and what needs to change to keep sex alive? Yeah.
It sounds like, some of the same things we've been talking about in terms of, flexibility, differentiation, authenticity. They all bring like a certain level of safety and intimacy, make it possible in a relationship. Yeah, I mean that realness, like that ability to actually bring yourself to a relationship. I can't imagine that sex could survive in any like real deep way without authenticity.
In a real deep way, I think is the key part of that. Yeah. Authenticity and then flexibility, I think, is the other thing. Just talk about what has changed for you and what the desires are now, and yeah.
And to be able to do that, there's got to be space for potentially maybe hurting someone's feelings a little bit, or you have to be able to trust that your partner can hear the truth about themselves or about the relationship or about you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's having trust and confidence that your partner's not going to melt into a puddle. That's why I think the self-work is so significant. Yeah, people need to be strong enough. Relationships are so hard. You need to be so strong to do it in a way that ends up feeling good and not stifling and not all the other bad things,
Takes a lot of courage, doesn't it?
It's crazy that there are so many relationships.
I've said to my different therapists over the years so many times, like, I just can't believe how many people are in relationships. It just, that's from my own perspective of thinking it's difficult. But I mean, objectively, relationships
are actually easier than, well, They are. But I think there's so many different layers to that. Like, yeah, people really sacrifice their own satisfaction, fulfillment, happiness, authenticity to stay in a relationship. And that's just like, whose goal is that?
Yeah.
Like, why do we do that?
Who wins?
Yeah. Except like the systems that we're in that says it's better to be partnered than not. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that idea of there's no loneliness, quite like feeling lonely in a relationship or in the company of someone who
I meet a lot of lonely people in relationships. That's, again, I've got goosebumps. It's really sad. And it's like helping people realize that they're not alone, but they are, like, and being able to label it, and like, what does it mean? Some people don't know what it means to not be lonely in a relationship, and so like teaching people,
that's just always been their experience of relationships.
Yeah,
they're lonely.
Yeah, like they were alone in their family of origin, then they found a partner that's not available in some way to them, and they're alone now. And then sometimes with women, they've had a kid and there's this huge, beautiful connection there, but then the kid has their own life and gets differentiated and then they're alone again. And it's, man, that's just this, like, it's really sad if they're willing to let themselves feel it.
Yeah. How much of what you see in couples is from each person's family of origin?
So much, I think. So much. So much. Yeah.
We bring a lot, don't we?
We bring a lot. But I think like in couples, but also like in every moment there's a family of origin story, like, or in every moment, how you walk into a building, Yeah.
Yeah. I know for me, there's nowhere it shows up like relationships.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's everybody's experience. But.
Yeah. The intimacy and the attachment that gets created in a relationship is it reawakens the attachment that you felt that close before. So that's why, Yeah. And it's really interesting, when couples, they get more and more attached. So they do all the things. They have the house and the kid and all the things, and they get more and more attached. You can see how difficult the relationship becomes as the more solid and the more it mirrors the childhood experience, the more difficult the relationship becomes. Yeah.
Is that something to do with the more deeply committed someone is, the more of the freedom they lose? Is that a factor in how difficult the relationship becomes?
Well, I think it's the more committed, the more it resembles the childhood experience. And it's almost like not wanting to go there or avoiding that. Yeah. Yeah. So I think the freedom part of it is when life maybe felt safer or better. Yeah. And so, yeah. And yeah, like when people come in and I think commitment, they're scared of commitment is actually a thing. And it's like they're scared of commitment because it resembles more and more and more of what they experienced as a child. And and maybe as a child they were super lonely, and that's the fear that it's going to come up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuck and trapped in four walls with someone that they don't know.
Yeah. Nowhere to go to avoid the pain that they may have been able to avoid previously.
Yeah.
But now it's really present
in
the relationship. If this conversation resonated with you, hit subscribe and click the link below to download the Source app. It's free to get started and helps you find a therapist who truly fits fast.